what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. We are sitting down with none other than Stratton Brown. Hashtag Strat Daddy. What's up, dude?
I'm
bro,
doing good,
I'm
bro.
so happy to have you on the show. I know we've had conversations in the past. We've been talking for a long time. You started as an entrepreneur and back in really 2019. So it has been a relatively short amount of time. And during that time period, I mean, you've done wholesale. You built a VA company, a very successful VA company. I've used your guys' services before in the past, and I mean, you've tapped into storage and a bunch of different things. I like the fact that you have that openness to business, and you really like get your hands in multiple different verticals where the opportunity is at. So I want to break into that. Welcome you to the show. Thank you for taking the time to spend some time with us and then share some golden nuggets here. So
Of course, bro.
yeah.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely, bro. Always an honor. Break it down, dude. I mean, you come from a sports background. You have that competitive edge kind of built into you and whatnot. But you really launched in 2019. I remember we met back at a Steve Trank's conference.
Yeah.
Was it?
Did we meet at were you a part of the mastermind with like Matt Larson, Carlos Reyes, Jesse? Like there was a bunch of those. It was because you're the only one of the dudes didn't respect me, and I still have a chip on my shoulder from that situation.
that I didn't respect?
One of the dudes there did not give me the time of day.
Oh,
and
okay.
And I was like, no, I'm a fucking.
I was like, no, that wasn't me.
No,
Come on,
it wasn't
dude.
you, bro. Because I was there, and then there's Steve had like another conference, and then I remember I bought the the Podio.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah,
I bought the Podio
yeah.
before that.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, that's where I met you, though.
Yeah.
That's where I met you.
Yeah, it's a while back. And I mean, seeing the journey and everything that you've done since, I mean, it's pretty impressive, dude. I mean, you stay pretty active. You've been, on that forward thinking, path ever since I've met you, and you're doing like different things every time we talk. So
Yeah,
it's really
it's
cool.
a good and a bad thing, as we talk about entrepreneurship.
It's kind of like it's the blessing and the curse, right?
Yes.
But break it down. Give us, from your own words, give us a little bit of context on how you got to where you're at right now, what you're doing, what your projects are like, and then we'll kind of unravel from there.
So how I got to where I am right now, I grew up in a small town in Utah, Bluffdale, Utah. Adopted at birth. My mother was a heroin addict. From there, lived there, and I was talking about this today. I wanted to be a pro skateboarder.
Pro skateboarder?
I loved skateboarding. And then my dad sat me down and he was like, bro, like you're either going to be watching the football games or playing in the football games. And this is like 7th, 8th grade summer or whatever. And then that following year, I played on like 3 or 4 different basketball teams. I was playing football. I wasn't really running track yet, but I was playing rugby. And so like that kind of consumed my time. And at a point in time, I actually did not get along with my parents in like late middle school and high school. And I pretty much didn't live at home.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I always saw my parents. They're both entrepreneurs, and they both work really, really hard. And then my best friend's dad, who I was living with, he owns a really successful construction company, and so I got work ethic from there too. So like it was all we'd work out, and then we'd have to go do like labor.
Yeah.
Right. So like we'd work out, and then we'd have to go like fix one of their rentals.
Yeah.
Or we'd work out, and then we got to go do construction work. Or we'd work out, then we got to go bale hay. Or like all this other stuff to where one time he's pretty much my second dad, like my godfather, and me and my brother woke up at 5 a.m. and we got our asses cussed out because we woke up too late.
5 a.m.
At 5 a.m. to like clean the boat, and it comes out and chews us a new asshole because we weren't up on time. We're like, bro, what do you mean? Like you came out after we did, and he just like came out here and started chewing us out. We don't even know what we did. But I got a lot of work ethic from him. I got a lot of work ethic from my parents, from like seeing that example, and it was always just work. And then junior year, I played on USA's junior national team for rugby, all-state in track, football. I wasn't all-state in football. I was peeved about that too.
I mean, what you're painting right now in terms of like the psychological development of how we approach things, right? It's very interesting, man. There's two ways that it can go, right? When you have that level of adversity. at the beginning, especially having, strong experiences where one of your parents is addicted, and then there's a lot of stuff that plays into it.
Yeah.
It can either go really really bad,
Yeah.
or go down the route where you want to correct things. Do you feel like it was at any point in time that was a question, or were you convicted of not improving that state that you were in?
So like I was adopted at birth, and so my life was pretty good, bro. My parents were semi-successful. Both owned small businesses. My mom actually owned, I never knew at a point in time, a decently large adoption agency. And she never talked about it. Like, my parents never talked to me about business. I just knew that my parents were entrepreneurs, and they didn't have to like go ask their boss to go on vacation. But as far as, I've always been more aggressive to where like I consider like, no, I'm going to like mold the world into like what I want it to be.
Yeah.
To where my parents aren't necessarily like that way.
Yeah.
But it didn't really start changing until like I wanted to really play college football and then go to the NFL. That's when like the aggressiveness of everything came out, like betting on yourself came out and everything else like that.
Do you feel that played into the way that you tackle business now? I mean, 2019, or I mean, you were talking about a chip on your shoulder earlier when somebody just kind of didn't respect you
Just
the way.
fucking rubbed me off.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm trying to get to is that like all of that stuff has origins, right?
Yeah.
Do you still that carrying, or you feel that carrying that kind of stuff, or seeing things from that perspective? I mean, has a competitive advantage over the space that you're in now? Because you have your hands in multiple different things.
I don't think so, bro. I think everybody's like this.
Yeah.
At least my friends, like, because you're not exactly like that, but you're still the same way.
Yeah.
Most people who I talk to who are in the space,
the circle, right?
In the circle, who are like trying to get somewhere, and that probably just goes off vibration. Like, you resonate with who you resonate with.
Yeah.
They all are competitive. They feel the same way. They're not like, if someone brushes them off, anybody's can be peeved by that. Everybody works. It is a prerequisite to work hard.
Yeah.
Like work.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like work ethic doesn't even matter. Like, it's like you're gonna have to develop it if you want to like start to even want to play in the game. Not even play in the game. Want to play in the game.
Yeah, it kills me, man. Every time I'm like, I've worked so hard to get this done, or when I hear it. It's almost like from like a complaint sometimes, right? It's like, what do you want? You want a cookie? Like this
The
part of
universe
the
doesn't care.
Yeah, it's part of the process. It's part of the nature of being in the space that you're in, right? If you choose to be an entrepreneur, you're automatically choosing to go to battle, because it's not all rainbows and chocolate chips. So, what are you currently working on right now? Breakdown. Give me a good just kind of like overlay of what your business looks like and how it all connects, because you have a couple of different sectors in it. And from personal experience, I can tell you that the whole thing may seem clear in our heads, but when you try to explain to somebody else, like it's often like
Exactly.
what's going on there. So I like to just get perspective that way from different people.
So we have Call Magicians. That's our most labor intensive company, and so that goes. Danny like runs that day to day. Then we have Eric and client relations.
Call Magicians is the VA
it's
agency,
like the VA company. And then we have our coaches and our trainer, and then we have our affiliate marketing company, to where we have at this point 9 or 10 different callers that we're pushing like the employee retention credit stuff, and then we have a trainer and a sales rep in that one. And then we have our wholesaling business. To our wholesaling business is just all the leads we generate through cold calling. Then have a leads manager, and then that leads manager sends it to our different partners throughout the country. Like, hey, if you're here and we know you have a strong buyers list, like we don't do anything. We just generate the lead, manage the lead, and then we send it to them. They close it and sell it, and we get half.
Do you guys pre-qualify it and then send it out?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we pre-qualify everything.
Nice. A lot of my audience is real estate people, is wholesalers and stuff like that. So guys, pay attention. If you guys JV or something, do you take JV opportunities, or
we'll take JV opportunities. We have that, and then we have our self-storage company, and we just have one cold caller in that, and then it's my girlfriend, myself, and then one of my business partners, and then obviously we bring on investors to buy them, and then we have
break that one down. What do you mean storage company?
So like right now, I bought 3 rentals in 2020, and it was awful. Single family real estate, I think, is the bane of everyone's existence, and it can't cash flow.
There's seasons for everything, right?
There's seasons for everything, and me and Terry Summers will probably fight to the death on that. But so I did that. We hated it, and so we started looking for storage. And really, my girlfriend's the one who wanted to do it. She quit her job, and she's like, "I'll try Airbnb." She's like, Airbnb. She's like, "Okay, we're gonna join the storage mastermind."
Yeah.
And so we got storage coaching, and then now the last one we just bought right before the beginning of the year was owner financed, $900,000 purchase, like $250 down, and it'll probably take us $150 in rehab, but it's on a 10-year note at 2%. So, and I think we can take it significantly higher than $900,000 in value in that time.
Yeah. I mean, you have a long runway.
Yeah.
So you got that down seller financing or
All seller financing.
Yeah.
All seller financing, and it came from a cold call from Call Magicians.
Dude, it's pretty interesting. We did a simple shift, and I have an in-house cold calling team, right? But we did a simple shift in the script. Like all we did, and I don't know, we started doing this maybe 6 months ago, so it hasn't even been that long. But all we did was add a paragraph on the cold calling script that whenever they're not interested in talking about an offer, like, do you have anything else that do you have another property, right? Like that's a common question. But we just got specific, right? Do you have anything else? We also buy commercial, we buy land, we buy multifamily.
And you'll probably pull a bunch out of that.
Yeah, we have. I mean, and we have 4 or 5 types of properties that we just kind of mentioned, right? And to me, it may sound like common sense, right? Like you're talking about making an offer, people are gonna mention that they have something else. They don't. They're not in that train of thought. It's almost like you almost have to bring it up and remind them that they may have a piece of land somewhere.
And disrupt the pattern.
Yeah, exactly. And we've gotten so many deals, so many leads from that kind of stuff. We're in the process of closing a deal in commercial deal in Mesa, and looking at office space as well, just from leads that have sourced from from that simple pivoting and conversation. Yeah. The way that we work those deals is also very different, right? Value add, and it's just kind of opens your perspective into so many different things. You mentioned something really important, which is the mastermind factor. To me, it's I think we can try to run through the process of learning things.
Yeah.
But when you jump into a mastermind, it's almost like jumping into an airplane that's gonna get you there a lot faster.
Bro, masterminds and coaching, it's the best.
I'm telling you, man. I used to be so apprehensive about no, it's like no, I'm not gonna go pay to go sit in a room with somebody or whatever. Like these people are crushing it. They're more than willing to share their stuff. If you're in the right mastermind. And I haven't been on a single mastermind where I haven't seen that happen. Where I walk away with no value. Like
exactly.
it hasn't happened.
You cannot.
Yeah, you can't.
You cannot.
Like it's incredible. Like people like to talk about the stuff that they're doing. They like to feel like they drop value on the world too, especially when they're they have a degree of success. And the best place to get it is in places like that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do we have? And then our rentals, but those are basic. There's only a few of them. No real employees in that, and then storage, and then we'll have, I guess, 2 1099 people at the 2 different sites, and then hopefully we can buy that little small town that we got.
You were talking, all right. He did say small town. All right, so all right, elaborate.
So
give me the background story. You can't just say, "Oh, we got an offer on a small town in Arizona." Like, come on, dude.
So we're driving home from Carlin, Nevada, where we're buying a storage facility. And then we asked our boots on the ground, like, hey, is there anybody else over here who wants to sell? And she gave us a number of a woman whose husband died a year ago, and she doesn't know how to run it. And I was like, yes. We'll take it, and we'll love to pay her every month if she just wants to carry the note.
Yeah.
And then we're driving home, and I stop at one. It is completely abandoned. I thought it was abandoned. I skip trace the dude, call him. It's full.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was like,
what is it, a mobile home park or
no,
what was
bro,
it?
It was a storage facility.
It
looked like an abandoned storage facility. I was like, bro, this is a deal. We're gonna make $1 million. Like, what's he doing with this? He's like, no, I ain't selling it. It's full. I was like, what? Like, it looks abandoned. He's like, it doesn't matter. It's full. I was like, all right, man. Thank you. And then we kept driving.
Yeah.
Then we hit another small town, and it was right off I-80. And I pull over. Their number didn't work. There's a big banner on it, and it doesn't work. And so we skip trace him. I called him like, hey, are you interested in selling those units? He was like, no, I want to sell the whole thing. I always like, what's the whole thing? I'm open to it. Like, I'll give you an offer. And then we ended up talking for like an hour.
Yeah.
I was like, what's the whole thing? It is a 33 unit trailer park. It is 7 rentals. It is a 17 or 18 unit motel. It is a laundromat. It is a bar. It is a convenience store, and 50 storage units.
So you're talking about this one dude that bought a bunch of stuff in the same
it's
vicinity.
Bro, it's all on a plot of land.
Yeah.
It's all just like that. He's like just built it over time.
Crazy.
And he wants to carry the note. And I was like, do you want to carry the note? He's like, I'm only doing it for 20% down at 9% interest. And the numbers that he told us, I was like, yes. I was like, yeah, I will do that.
It makes sense.
I will do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes people just want to, they want to do away with it, and they know what their number is and what they need to, live, right, on a monthly basis and whatnot, and thrive. Well, like the it's crazy. The level of or the amount of opportunity out there, dude. It's if you just open your eyes, right?
And you got to ask.
Yeah.
Because he was like, well, I want this price. No one really wants to buy. I was like, well, will you carry the note? He's like, I will carry the note, and here's the terms I want. And I was like, fine.
Yeah. Crazy. And that's you're practically doing this in a small town in Arizona. That's I hope best of luck on that,
right,
man. I hope it really goes.
We got a verbal a day ago.
Yeah.
And then there might be too long, right? Timecode's all deals, so I might just drive out there and get some paperwork signed.
Yeah, get it done.
They're old people.
Yeah. Especially face-to-face contact is always the best way to go about. I remember when my closing ratio was a lot higher when I was going on face-to-face appointments. Yeah. And then people got freaked out with COVID and all that stuff and just kind of a little touchy and whatnot. So now we're getting back into that face-to-face thing. But yeah, it's always, we're in the people business, right?
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. We're talking about real estate right now and different verticals in real estate. I want to make a note of that. But it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're in business altogether, you're in the people business. You have to you go out there and interact and have conversations and actually push the envelope when it comes to solving people's problems. You never know what you're going to come across and what that opportunity is going to look like.
Exactly, bro. You never know.
So you have a couple of things brewing right now. Tell me about the perspective shift. I mean, from 2009, you were breaking into stuff like that. 2009 to 2023. Would you have imagined back then, like what the possibilities that are on the table now?
I didn't think I was going to have the VA company, that's for sure. At a point in time, I wanted to be the biggest wholesaler. Yeah. But that's probably the least of my concerns. No, not really. I mean, you never really know where life's going to take you. I'd say I wish I would have thought a lot bigger when I started, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's interesting. What do you mean thinking a lot bigger when you started? Paint the picture.
I want to go for a Billy.
Yeah.
Back then, it was like, oh, I want to make 6 figures in a year, and I'm not trying to poo-poo on anybody, but it was really easy, when you did it, and most of the time, you can do it in your first year in real estate if you just stick to the same actions. Yeah. If you stick to the right actions, if you make 100 calls a day for 365 days, I promise you'll make 6 figures.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, it's one of the things that I keep repeating over and over again, right? But I think that one of the biggest problems, or what gets in the way of people, is really that tenacity, that consistency. Is they're just not willing to put in they want the payouts, but not necessarily the effort that needs to be put into things. Yeah, and now you're thinking a lot bigger. Like what caused that shift?
I would say my mentor, Mark Evans. To where I remember I was talking to him about call magicians. It was like, Stratton, you're talking about these bullshit problems. Like, this thing isn't even fun until it cash flows $100,000 a month. Yeah. Right, to where, and forcing me to think that way and forcing me to do bigger. How can we hit a true scale in something we're doing? And then I'm in that mastermind with one dude who's doing 9 figures, legitimate 9 figures, crazy numbers. They hired on 200 in-house employees last year.
Wow. What mastermind is that?
The DM family.
DM family.
So that one's pretty crazy, and it's an exposure to a lot of different dudes who are worth upwards of $20 to $100 million of all entrepreneurs, and some of our in real estate, other ones aren't. And so that, I'd say that one was the big push, because I was exposed to what people are really doing. And then I went to another mastermind called Powerhouse. Yeah. Shout out Los and Josh. And Josh is one of the most nuts people I've ever met in my life. And Josh's company, when he's 28 now, and they do $200 million a year.
Wow.
And I got to I met him and I touched him and it was real, and it wasn't like Mark Zuckerberg. It was like a dude who's like I'm not gonna say he's a regular dude because I think he's a savant. Yeah. But I was like, bro, he can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
Like he actually did it and he went for it. And so that really was a massive mindset shift for me of like, bro, it's real.
Yeah.
Like it's so much realer than you think. And as you start getting exposed to, even being exposed to you helped me think a lot better too. Like just surrounding myself with people who are playing the game differently helps out a lot.
Isn't it crazy how limited our thinking is? When we just don't know what we don't know, right? And then if you're open to it, if you have that attitude of growth, and you have this one really good conversation. I mean, it can be random, man. I've had great. This whole week I've gone neck deep into this one other app for management and
what is it?
It's a Notion. Do you use it?
I've heard great things, but you're a lot more operational than I am, though.
My brain is a clusterfuck, right? Like I got to place it somewhere. I was using Evernote and a couple other things. I was on the plane and I sat down next to this guy that lives in Puerto Rico. I was flying out to Puerto Rico, and we just hit it off. We started talking. The guy's all, he's either a bum or somebody who makes a lot of money, right? From looks. Like he's tatted, tats in the forehead and, whatnot. So you can never judge a book by its cover. Exactly. The guy's crushing it, the Rolex and the cars and all that stuff, right? And he's doing really good. And he goes, and we start talking about, management and business and whatnot. And he breaks out his phone. He's running his entire company with this thing, right? That one thing just kind of, threw me on a pivot because I was actually having an issue getting bottlenecked in terms of how to delegate and how to push. Yeah. And this thing just opened up a whole new
Notion.
Notion.
Okay.
A whole new perspective. Really cool app. You build it out and then you do your own thing on it. I mean, this thing is like, it's solid. Right. And, so far, and I've spent, a good amount of time this week building it out, and I'm already delegating stuff through it and whatnot. But you never know where that, point being is that you never know where that conversation is going to come from. Right. If you're in that state of mind, in that path of growth, you're going to pick out really good, solid things from different conversations, from people who are in different verticals. This guy is in the merch business. So it's not, no real estate, man.
You're not going to get anything from, I think you get the most from people who are in a different vertical at a different scale. Yeah. Because then they can expose stuff that you haven't even thought about. Right. And then they bring it back to you.
Exactly. They'll bring it back and it's a two-way street, right? We'll put something on the table that's so common for us. Yeah. So common knowledge or common sense. And there's oh shit, it's mind-boggling because they're just not exposed to the same thing. We don't know what we don't know is one of the biggest things that I think we need to consider as entrepreneurs. And we assume, and I'll speak for myself on this, but I'll assume that everybody knows what I know. Mm-hmm. And it's not the way it works.
No.
I know what I know. I don't know exactly.
Knows.
You assume that I know everything that you know, for the most part. But then we're surprised, right, when we start dropping gems on people, or I hear a gem from somebody else, and it's like, wow. But yeah, keeping that mindset open and really tapping into these rooms. I mean, one of the biggest ones that's helped me over the last couple of years has been Family Mastermind, but it's the same context.
Oh, I love that mastermind. Thank you. You're the one who got me in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be actually moderating some of the rooms coming up.
Are you?
Yeah. Okay. And I'll be speaking out and doing a couple of things. But it's a really good mastermind. The people are great, and I mean, they're all crushing it, right? I like that sensation of inadequacy. Walking into a mastermind. You walk into a mastermind, I don't know, back home you're crushing it, you're doing your thing, you're king of the hill, right? And then you walk into one of these rooms, it's like, oh shit, I know what they're doing. What am I doing here, right? That's a really good flag for or indicator for growth. It's all right, cool. There's gonna be conversations in here that are gonna make you uncomfortable, and that's a good thing.
Exactly.
Right? See that as a path of growth for entrepreneurship. I like how you tackle on growth that way, right? Increasing your perspective. Now you're aiming for bigger things, and it's a relatively short amount of time, 2009 19 to now, right? When you went in, neck deep, and I mean the leaps and bounds have been amazing. What's in store for you going forward?
What do I want to do going forward? I'd like to buy 70,000 square feet of storage this quarter.
Yeah.
I need to.
Sounds like a very specific goal. Where's that coming from?
I thought of like a goal, and I was like, oh, that's too small. Like we could probably hit that, so we should probably like make it a little bit bigger.
Tell me about the thought process behind that, like the gauge. What tells you now that it's too small? What what's that trigger that just kicks in and tells you, no, bro, you need to think bigger?
I don't know, but so I have a check on my wall. Mm-hmm. That's like one of those really big checks that says sold company for $80 million in 2027. And it started off at 30, and then I was like, nah, like if we're gonna have a goal and like it's gonna be something that's gonna be really cool, might as well like make it something that's like
really cool,
like really cool, right? I don't know. And then with the storage stuff, I felt like we already have like enough in the pipeline. You know, the 70 will be a solid stretch, and we'll still be able to make it happen. Yeah, and I'm probably still shooting too low.
Yeah,
it's hard because I feel like you could. Jamil gave me this example. We flew him and Pace out to come speak at our event a couple months ago. And he was like, me and Grant Cardone were broke at the same time. Yeah. I was going for $5 million, and Grant Cardone was going for $1 billion. It's been the same amount of time. Grant Cardone has $1 billion, I got my $5 million. Yeah. So
wow.
like that resonates with me, right? Like, so like, what am I like leaving on the table?
It sinks.
And like, are you like selling yourself short too? Yeah. Because like if you're solving different problems as you like think bigger, like how can I get there? Like, or like, how do I do it? Like, what's the vehicle? Is this even the right vehicle I should be using to get there? Yeah. Right. I got to be real. I'm not going to be able to do that wholesaling houses. Like I got to move up into bigger deals if I want to do something for $80 million.
I like to see, wholesaling is a great vehicle, right? It's a great entryway.
It is the best way to get into business, in my opinion.
Get into business. And you start stacking up, some cash and break your way into opportunity. You break your way into relationships. And it's really kind of like I like to call it the gateway drug for entrepreneurship.
It is, bro.
It's like the weed of entrepreneurship. Yeah. Like it's you go in there and then okay, cool. It's low barrier to entry, right? Mm-hmm. But it opens up so many different doors, so many different opportunities. Next thing you know, you're talking multifamily. You're talking buying towns and wherever the fuck Arizona. But it's I think the notion stands true, right? Like we gotta have that mentality of pushing forward, and if our think is not that big or it's not big enough, get around people who think that way on a regular basis. I can tell you, I mean, some of my best friends are just out thinking me on a regular basis. Like, oh shit, like yeah, you're right, and it's easy to go back to defaults, right? Depending on your background, how you were raised and whatnot, we're gonna create stories on how we see life, how we see success, how we see possibilities, or the places that we can get to.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah,
I feel like everybody needs to like hear that one.
Well, I mean, we create stories, right? We create based on experience. Like for example, I grew up in a mobile home, right? My idea of wealth was $60,000 a year for the longest time. Like if you hit $60,000 a year, you're set, you're good. Like okay, cool, you're gonna live a happy life. Then I turned 16 or something to figure it out. Like no, this shit doesn't work that way. But breaking out of that belief, that thought process. That I had adopted over years was a battle, and I think we have the ability, right, to outgrow our stories. There's no, great example is you sitting here with me, talking about how your think was small, and then you start hanging out with Mark Evans and going to masterminds and hanging out around people who are thinking a lot bigger than you are, or you were, and now it's like shit. If they can, I can. Now you start adopting it. You see it as a reality.
The adoption of it is
and your entire story changes.
Yeah.
What kills me, or I don't think kill me, but what gets to me is how heavy people will push back on something. Just because it's a new narrative,
right? Like, why not just accept it? Well, even with yourself, bro. Yeah. I did not write that goddamn check. Yeah. For like a month. Yeah. Like I had it in my house, just sitting there blank. Yeah. And I was like pulling on it, like you can't even like, bro, no one else really knows about it. This is the first time I've ever talked about it in public.
Yeah.
No one, and bro,
I feel honored.
thank you. Like, okay, bro, let's say I don't hit it, but like, nothing changes. But like, you're even afraid to like put it on a check that's blank.
Yeah. Or talk. Yeah.
Or talk
Bring it
about
up
it.
Or talk about
like,
it.
even talk about it. Put it out there into the universe. And toward that, I mean, you got to get past a lot of that, especially as you're getting going. I lost a lot of friends. Let's say I talked to some of them. Other ones I don't really talk to, but like they're not in the same vibration as you anymore, and like they're not really. And let's not say lost, right? It's not like it was like a massive falling out, but like you're just not talking about the same shit anymore. Like you're going in a different direction.
Well, I mean, I think the context of life changes, right? I mean, you start aiming for different things, and it's not, it's just a different path. It really, it is what it is. Everybody finds their bliss, right? I think success is relative. I've seen very successful people who work 9 to 5s, and exactly. they're not, they're not entrepreneurs. They don't have their own business, and they make, I don't know, $60,000, $80,000, but they're successful.
But they're happy.
Why? Because they're happy, right? So it's subjective to what we are. I think really success begins with having an idea of what that looks like to you, right?
Yeah, and you got to build that too.
Yeah, exactly. So depending on what that looks like, right, it's going to be the amount of work that you put into it, and how well you can settle into that reality. And vibration plays. I mean, I think it's the basis of everything, right? We start gravitating towards situations, towards people, towards conversations. We start, listening to like cues and different conversations that we just come across, and next thing you know, you're inquiring, you're questioning, you're I don't know, eavesdropping on things that like, all right, cool, like, I need to get into that conversation somehow. You know what I mean? But if your vibration wasn't there, your intention wasn't there, there's no way that you would pick up on that kind of stuff. So I mean, it all begins with really crafting that vision. I used to think that it was a cheesy thing to like vision board.
Bro, they're huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Visualization and vision boards.
I feel like an idiot forever believing that, forever thinking that. Like, no, that's stupid. Like, I'm not gonna, do the stuff I want or that I like or that I desire and put it up on a thing and then look at it and then, no, it's stupid. I really had like, it was I had a negative energy towards it.
Yep.
And I started doing that, and I think that the problem was that I didn't believe that I could get to it. The same way that you don't write the check for a month.
Yeah. You gotta have a little bit of belief.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I mean,
there was no, it was like a far-fetched thing, right? And I don't know, along the way, it's somehow I became okay with dreaming, and that was the first step. And then, okay, cool, I dream I can do it. And then you start, getting some proof and validity, and you go through the process of doing the hustle and the work and all that stuff. And then you start stacking your little wins and whatnot. And then they compile into this one bigger win, and you start believing in yourself a little more. And now like it's huge advocate. Like, you have to create that picture. You have to visualize what you want. It doesn't matter if it looks cheesy. It doesn't matter if you have it in your bathroom, like, I know for a fact that Jamil has a vision board of what he wants to get to in his like bathroom.
You got to see it every day, bro. Because then it's top of mind. It's top.
Exactly.
I'm thinking about it every day.
And I mean, this is a conversation that we've had at his house. He showed it to us, and it's it's incredible, right, to see the clarity that something like that creates. And I think when we have that clarity, a lot of the doubts and the fears, start kind of falling off the wayside.
Bro.
And we have a lot. Our power just gets a lot bigger with that kind of stuff.
I think the clarity, I was thinking about this a lot lately, like the clarity of like even visualization of creating like what you want in your head, because that way we know where we're going.
Yeah.
Because I think Outwitting the Devil is such a good book because it talks about the drifter.
Yeah.
Right? When you're visualizing things, you are pushing yourself in that direction. At least you know where you're going. And then that way you can start taking steps towards that. If we don't have any idea, like the future is still a place we need to get to.
Yeah.
And so we are creating the path to get there.
Right.
Like we can't just like, oh no, I don't know.
You can drift to it.
You can drift to it, but then
or you can get
or you can get to where you want to go.
Yeah, create an intention behind it. Outwitting the Devil. It's a really good. It's the
book.
number
one book I refer to people.
Bro, it's a really good book. I got that one from Sal Shakir. I mean, years ago we were at a. I don't think I ever told him that, but he mentioned it somewhere. And it was one of those things where I heard the title and I looked it up. right? You look at people who are crushing it, and then you're like, I wonder what they're reading. I wonder what what their morning routine looks like, right? And that sort of thing. So we adopt things along the way. That was one of them. But yeah, absolutely, man. We live in a place of opportunity, and I think squandering that and not taking action and being falling into that victimhood mentality where we don't get up and we don't put in the effort, we don't put ourselves in the middle of potential and relationships just because we're afraid or we're intimidated. I mean, it's a disservice.
Yep.
It is, especially if you're a dreamer, you're a creator, and I'm not talking about content and posts. I'm talking about a creator of life, a creator of opportunity, a creator of of possibilities for other people.
Exactly.
Like, you have to put yourself in that space. It's a responsibility. Yeah,
Bro. Yeah. If you have not read it yet, go read. Is that the camera? That's the camera. If you have not read the book Outwitting the Devil, go get the book Outwitting the Devil and Think and Grow Rich. I mean, consume a ton of Bob Proctor stuff, Dr. Joe Dispenza stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I am all woo woo. I don't care what anybody says. I am all in the.
Yeah.
I am.
At this
100%
point, man,
about
like
it, bro.
it's it's proven, time and time again to me that it's like that's the way life works. I don't have to understand all the details of quantum physics and like, all right, I don't know how the fucking light switch works. Like, I can't tell you what the what the electrons and the protons, what they're doing to get the light. However, I know that I can flip it up, right? And I believe that that's a real thing.
Exactly.
Same context that I have towards the energy and the woo-woo stuff, right? It's really not. I do a lot of Reiki meditation, and work on the power centers of the body, and it's kind of how I center myself now, right? And every month I go and I see this acupuncture, Dr. Rachel.
You said it works because I remember sending you a message and you love it.
I love it, dude. It just sets me right. But I do this combo every month. Like, I don't miss it, right? It's one of my non-negotiables. But acupuncture, and then a Reiki session, and then cupping. All in the same thing. Like, my back's red.
All
right
red.
Now. Yeah, so it's like I get a full tune-up, right? And she's very tuned. She's very tuned into energy, and we do the whole noise, the sound healing and just therapy, right? And it's a really good space that just kind of settles me down, especially because I'm always running 1,000 miles an hour. And when it comes to energy, it's like it's a tangible thing. It's not something that when you say woo-woo, it's actually something that you can measure. Have you ever done any? And we're gonna get woo-woo as fuck right now. Have you ever done any work with pendulums or
I've never done
energy?
pendulum work.
Right. So this thing that I have, it's just I've had it for so long. It's charged with my energy, right? Because it's with me all the time. But it works like a pendulum. And it's interesting to see how energy just channels through things. Like yesterday, we were sitting down. She was doing a Reiki session, and she put her hands in my head, and my energy was just through the roof because I was going through a lot of stuff and just doing stuff. My mind was my logical
still going,
state was still going. She started sweating, like as soon as she made it over to the heart centers and the. Like everything just kind of, there was just different energies at every single single one of those points. So it may sound crazy. Again, the quantum physics and the nuts and bolts of how it all works, I can't elaborate on it as well as Dispenza or but I understand like there's certain things that I have to watch out for. Energy is one of them, right? It's a real thing. If you align yourself and you create the space around you, we're satellites, right? We're the transmission to energy or bodies or that kind of stuff. And if we put ourselves in that space, I mean, we can, a lot of these conversations are going to gravitate. I think I honestly don't think that it's a coincidence that we get to meet all the people that we meet.
Not at all.
And just randomly, right? It feels random sometimes. Like that dude on the plane, like great conversation.
You pulled it. Yeah, you
made
you
a
pulled
really
that
good
whole
connection. Like, what are the odds that I'm gonna sit down next to a guy that's also an entrepreneur? He's doing a lot of things on that I'm actually doing myself, and we collaborate on things going forward, right? Like it's energy, man. Like it all taps into it. Moral of the story before I get to extremely woo on this, but is know yourself, right? Know your energy is your lifeline. And we're talking about frequencies. We're talking about your state, your happiness, your joy, your attraction, your sense of being.
Be aware, I think, is the
truth.
biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, so meditation for me now is like, bro, I just feel fucking frantic.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? I just feel
Yeah.
frantic. We're running. Like, that's what the recentering is. Like, your significant other and your children will feel different around you because you just give off a completely different vibe.
Absolutely.
Like even when you come home and you could be smiling, but they know something's wrong, and that's what that is. Like, you're just giving off a different vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. You walk into, or somebody walks into a room sometimes, and like you feel the weight. Like that's the energy. It's a tangible thing. It's a real thing. And the more that you work on yourself, the more that you become sensitive to other people's energies, right?
Yeah.
You can pick it up easier and that sort of thing. So it all plays into what we do as entrepreneurs, right? We have the ability to just kind of, increase the dial whenever we're feeling a little low, that sort of thing. But we create that self-awareness and that sense of personal power because we're growing this thing from within, as opposed to being just, a drifter from everything that's happening outside of us.
Exactly.
It may sound, maybe a little bit of, egotistical, right? Or narcissist, like saying that you can control your environment around you. I'm not saying that. I mean, there's always going to be situations, but we can always have a choice on how we react to things, right? What's the energy that we're putting out there? It doesn't matter what hits you.
Yeah.
Like, you have a choice on how to feel about it and what energy you're going to create around it.
I think you can control a lot of your life, though. I do think you can will a lot of things to happen.
Yeah.
It's just
Manifestation.
like a manifestation, but like a lot of it is just putting your nose to the grindstone and just refusing. No, you will bend to my will, and like this is gonna get done.
Yeah.
And like we can think about it too, but at the same time, like 99% of the shit is just don't give up.
Yeah. Yeah, we still got to do the work.
Yeah,
right?
you still got to give.
Like, you're not gonna sit in the couch and then try to meditate. You wait $2 million. Like, it's not. Like, it's not gonna. I've never heard of it happening where somebody walks in through the door and brings you $1 million because somebody was meditating. Anyways, but you know what I mean. So work still has to be put in, but that's the other side of it. It's actually the biggest side. I think it's you have the mindset, but you have the energy, you have the connection, you have the contribution, the ability to put good stuff out into the world that's gonna reciprocate and come back to you.
When your employees feel it too.
So, man, that conversation went into a rabbit hole real quick. How did we get there from storage units? I don't know. I don't care. That was awesome.
How did we get there? What my goals were. So it started off with like my goals of buying 70K square feet.
I like that, man. I didn't know you had that much. You were that adamant about visualization, and I mean, I know you meditate, and I know that you have this self-awareness. But I didn't know it went to that level. I like it. I love, dude, everything that you're doing, and I have a lot of respect for you, bro. I mean, you know that because we've talked for a long time. Everything that you're doing, I mean, it's indicating of bigger things to come, right? And I have no doubt that you're gonna be able to hit your goals. You just have that the drive, that tenacity, and that energy to like everything that you do. You have a magnetism, bro. Like it's distinct.
Thank
I like
you,
it. So with that being said, thank you so much for being on the show. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, I don't know, JV, partner up, just pick your brain on whatever, reach out for VAs. Where's the best place to find you?
The best place to find me is my cell phone. Shoot me a text, 801-860-8032. Follow me on Instagram at StratDaddy would be the best two ways.
Savage. Phone numbers and all.
Bro, I mean, people don't do it, right? But I'm just like, well, how much opportunity would I get if I keep giving out my cell phone?
Yeah.
Like to where, like, if I need to raise a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want more deal flow. And then eventually if I have to hand an assistant my phone and have them sift through it, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But I just want more and more and more and more. And then if you're wasting my time, I'll tell you you're wasting my time. So
so don't waste time. I like it. And before we sign off, my favorite question of all time is, if you were walking down the street and you ran into your 17-year-old self, what would you tell that kid?
don't think I'd tell him anything.
Really?
Like I could tell him like go into business, but then I wouldn't have my son. Right? What am I gonna do? Tell him wear condoms?
Yeah.
No, I mean, because like, what would I go back and change? I wish I would have. I think about this all the time. If I would have started in business when I was 17 years old, but then I wouldn't have my amazing girlfriend. We wouldn't have our beautiful son. I wouldn't have the friendships I have now.
Yeah.
And so there's not a whole lot I would change. If I could tell myself one thing, I'd say think bigger.
Yeah.
Go for it bigger. And I don't even think like I would recognize like
what bigger looks like.
Like what bigger looks like and like what I'm trying to like impress upon myself.
Yeah. I love it, man. Man, it's been an honor having you. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you for having
Love
me,
hanging out with you every time. We're going to go have some big, tasty, juicy steaks here in a second, and I'm looking forward to that. With that being said, I hope you got as much value as I did from this conversation. Again, bro, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for everything.
Fam, stay focused. You got this.